This test turned out to be nothing like I expected. Now, Bowie knives are some of the best knives to use thanks to its robust design and versatility, which makes them popular for the outdoors and for many other things. So the question is, how good is the SOG Pinnacle Bowie to take on daily challenges like chopping and splitting wood and 2x4s? Is it as good as other higher end Bowie knives that cost 3, 4, 5 times the cost of this one? Because this one here runs around 20 to 30 US dollars at the time of making this video. With a 420 steel blade, you get corrosion resistance and an easier to sharpen steel blade. However, some people consider 420 steel to be inferior. Well, we're going to put that to the test today. This is not the sharpest knife right out of the box, but thanks to it being 420 steel, it's easier to sharpen to your liking. So I do see that as something positive about this knife. So for the first test, we'll be chopping a tree trunk. This tree has an area of the trunk that is dried out, and it would be best to remove it. It's a good idea to remove dry branches and trunks, as these can lead to pests and it can weaken the tree structure. So I'll start to hack away on it. Thanks to its overall length of 13 inches and weight of 8.6 ounces, this thing handles almost as if it were a small machete or a small axe. It can hack away without any problem, and thanks to the rubber grip, it acts as a shock absorber, so you don't feel that much vibration on the handle. And just like that, we're able to remove this 3 to 4 inch trunk without a problem. For the next test, we'll split some wood. Normally for this, many people use an axe, a smaller axe of course, but let's say you're in a scenario where you don't have any axe available. Can this Bowie knife actually split the logs and still remain functional and sharp? So the idea is to try and split the log on the center. If it doesn't split in the first hit, then we'll hit the knife in the spine with another log so we can wedge in the knife to split the log. And we can see that it doesn't really have any problem splitting the wood. And the knife itself is still holding up just fine. No visible damage to the spine or to the blade. And again, the rubber handle absorbs the impact when banging the wood to the concrete floor. I came in expecting little from this knife because it's a budget-friendly knife. But up to this point, I've actually been impressed by its performance. Now for this next test, we'll be throwing around the knife. I'm no professional knife thrower, and that's exactly why we're performing this test. Because 9 out of 10 times I'll probably miss the landing of the knife tip to the board, and chances are that the knife is just going to be bouncing around getting beaten up on the board. This test will show us just how tough the handle and the exterior of the blade actually is. Will it end up cracking, bending, getting all scratched up? Let's find out. So it did get a few scratches and the handle got all covered with dirt, but no real damage to the knife itself. I will say though that the knife is hard to clean up if you drop it on the dirt, since it sticks all over the rubber handle. It'll take you a little bit of time to completely clean it up entirely, but I don't see that as a major problem at all. For the final test, we'll do the blade tip drop to see if the tip bends or breaks. Now I did first poke around on a piece of 2x4 to see if anything would happen to the tip, and in one of those pokes I actually hit the concrete with some force, and you know what? It actually held up okay. But now we'll drop it as well and see if the tip breaks. We can see that the tip does have minor damage to it this time. It did bend a little. It didn't break though, so that's somewhat of a good news. Now it could be that the reason it didn't bend anymore is because this is not a thin blade, so that could have helped it survive the drop test. So in case if you accidentally drop this knife to the ground, you may have some minor damage, but nothing that serious. So again, I'm impressed by this knife's performance in this final test as well. So the SOG Pinnacle Bowie is able to chop off some dry tree trunks, split some firewood, cut through 2x4s as well, survive being thrown around, and even have the tip of the blade remain intact when dropping it onto the concrete. Well, with a minor bend. That to me is some really good results. Now I expected the rubber handle to start falling apart in pieces after beating it around when throwing it full force to the board. I expected the tip to bend significantly or even break off. I expected this knife to lose its edge and go dull. I expected the spine to show signs of wear and tear after beating it, but so far the damage to the knife has been minimal. And for the price range, I do believe you get more than what you paid for. So let's keep this secret between us before SOG decides to hike up the price after seeing its superb performance. Now if I have to rate this knife from a 1 to 10, I would rate this at around an 8.5. The only downside to it is 1, the rubberized handle seems to hold on to a lot of the dirt. It's almost as if it's a dirt magnet, and it's not the easiest to clean. 2 is that even though it didn't really have significant damage to the blade, the exterior black coating did show some signs of fading off after some use. Maybe if they had left the knife a clean metal finish versus the black coating, it wouldn't really look too worn out after just one day of being used. But again, for the price, you are getting a really good deal in my opinion. So for the price of around 20 to 30 US dollars, you get a 420 steel blade with a blade length at about 7.2 inches with an overall length of 12.6 inches. You get the black oxide finish. This also includes a serrated edge, but that actually doesn't really do much, to be honest. Non-slip molded TPR handle that gets dirty quite easily, and you get a hard molded sheath, which is not bad at all either. But as always, if you have this knife, let me know in the comment section. What do you think of it? Is this knife actually worth getting, or do you think it was a purchase you regret? Let me know. That is all I have for y'all today. Thank you so much for your time. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Have a great day and take care.